Hello, hello friend! How are you doing today? My name is Mary, this is Happilyeveresch, and today I want to give you my Friday reads, what I've been reading lately. I'm going to kind of call this new series, if you would like to think of it that way, as like my reading moment, my current reading moment. I don't know, it's a working title, and this is just really so if I can do a Friday reads whenever I want. So thanks so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you want to see more bookish content from me. And now let's go on, let's chat about what I've been reading lately, what I'm currently reading, and what I plan to read very soon. I've only finished one book this week so far. It was my Book of the Month club pick for this month, and that is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. This book was interesting, and I knew it was kind of a gamble when I picked it for my Book of the Month club pick. It's a very thin, under 250 pages novel, kind of sold as a literary thriller, and I was reading the premise and I was like, this is either gonna go really well or not so well, and it kind of aired on the not so well for me. Now, that being said, by the end of this book, I really enjoyed what the author was doing and kind of where he was going and his greater meaning of the story, but I think ultimately I just didn't like the way that he wrote the story. His writing style didn't click for me, and it kind of very much lessened it. But as I was reading this, you would have asked me in the middle of it, I was like, 1-2 stars. I don't like this at all. But by the end, it kind of came around, and I could see why people liked this book, and I could even get on with some of his deeper themes and kind of what he was trying to do with his story. But again, his writing style was just didn't click for me, and that's okay. What is this book about? So we're following this couple who is going to an Airbnb type place in kind of the country, the woods of the state that they live in. Presumably New York. Yeah, I think it's New York. And they're going to the countryside to stay in this immaculate, beautiful Airbnb house in the country. They're enjoying their time, they're swimming, they're going to the beach, they're having lots of fun. But then in the middle of the night, the owners of the house knock on the door. There's been some tragedy, some blackouts, something has happened that the couple wants to come stay in their house in their country, and there's this like tension of like, do they let them in? What's going on? Are they overreacting? Did something really happen? Then other strange things start to happen. It's a very slow paced, slow burn kind of thriller, which is my kind of cup of tea. I like the atmosphere to be built, but yeah, ultimately, like I said, the writing style just like was very disconnected. I did enjoy the way he kind of broke down human interaction. It's almost like if an alien was watching this going on, or some like outside being who's not acquainted with humans at all, like watching these interactions and kind of this like almost like larger omniscient commentary on what's going on. And it was really cool, but the way that he wrote it, I just didn't like it. There was like a lot of sexual language, and two of the characters were children, and yeah, it just, I was very turned off by the way that a lot of things were written about. But the ending was kind of beautiful, and so ultimately, I don't know, I'm very conflicted. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm also glad I still read it, and I think the longer I sit away from it and the more kind of like the icky writing style kind of fades in my memory, I think the things that I like will stick out more. But yeah, I don't know. The jury's still out on this one. I'm kind of leaning on like 3, maybe a 3.5 star. It's so hard when there's just certain parts that I really didn't like, but certain parts that I really did, and so it's a mixed bag, really. But if any of that sounds interesting to you, maybe check it out from your library. I don't know if I'd say buy it, but maybe check it out. It was a short read. I definitely think it did put me in a little bit of like a slump. I knew I wanted to finish this book and not move on until I did, but then I wasn't super wanting to pick it up just because it did kind of just like put me off, but then I did enjoy the ending, so there you go. Take that for what you will. But it's a cool cover, right? Like the pool. Okay, and for what I'm reading now, I just picked up last night Ask Again Yes. I don't have the dust jacket on. It does have a pretty spine. Sorry, we've got some like weird sun going on right now. And this, I just have read the prologue so far, but we're introduced to our main character, who is a police officer in New York. I think like in the 70s, 80s is kind of when like our opening is set. I know it's a family drama, and it's like connections between neighbors and secrets, and that's really all I know. It's gotten a lot of praise, so I'm very excited to give this one a go. It is my book club pick. I'm supposed to be finished this Sunday, so wish me luck that I get this one done. And for my audiobook, I'm listening to Sea People, The Puzzle of Polynesia by Christina Thompson. I am very much enjoying this. I'm about 30% in. This is kind of what it says in the subtitle. It is all about Polynesia. It's looking at the first European contact with those islands, and then also just kind of puzzling out who are the people, how did they get there, and like looking at their lives on the island. And I'm really enjoying this. Christina Thompson has a PhD in Polynesian studies or culture. Her area of study is this group of islands and the people that inhabit it, but she's also married to someone from New Zealand, I believe, and has 2 children who have Polynesian heritage because of her spouse, obviously. And so she's very also, just from an individual standpoint, very interested in the culture and the lineage which her children have come from. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm learning a lot. I know very little about like geography, so it was just never something that was studied a lot in school. I didn't study in secondary education at all, so I am trying to like learn and orient myself with the islands and having to do some kind of like Googling to see what they're talking about. But I love like the anthropological, the people study aspects. Those are the things that I really connect with and are my favorite parts so far. But fascinating book, wonderful audio. The narrator is just so calming, and I love the narrator of this book. And yeah, highly enjoying this one, and it's gotten so much praise. I can't wait to see where it goes and how she tells the story of the Polynesian islands and people. All right, and for what I plan to pick up next. So I have not been reading a ton. I haven't picked up any Victorian novels, which makes me so sad, but I also want to be realistic and maybe know that I'm not going to finish one because they are just heavier reads. So I plan to pick up David Copperfield by Charles Dickens very soon, and I want to kind of read it almost like serialized for myself. I want to break down the chapters and how it would have been published. I probably won't take the years to read it as they came out, but I maybe will just give myself like once a week kind of a challenge to read a certain number of pages. Just take it slow and enjoy it, and I'm gonna be okay with that. So yes, I feel very like compelled to read this book, and so I want to keep that like feeling going. Plus, November is nonfiction November, and I want to predominantly read nonfiction all month, so I thought that this would be a nice little fiction weekly challenge to read a certain number of pages. So my next book, while it won't quite be November yet, I'm just so itching to pick nonfiction up. That's what I'm in the mood for, so I'm just going with it. And this is a book that I picked up at an independent bookstore when I was on vacation earlier this year. We went camping and we stopped by this independent bookstore on our way to our like little cabin. And that's 2 Trees Make a Forest, In Search of My Family's Past Among Taiwan's Mountains and Coasts by Jessica J. Lee. So this is a memoir, travel memoir, but also like that history and connection that she's searching for. Sounds lovely. It kind of sounds like it goes a little bit with my Sea People read, maybe like a book flight. They have similar flavors. But yes, I'm very excited to read this one. It's gorgeous. It's been calling to me ever since I bought it. So yeah. All right, that's kind of my reading moment. That's where I'm at. I'd love to know, what have you read recently? What are you currently reading? And what do you plan to pick up? Let's chat about it down in the comments below. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think about them. I always love to hear and get your recommendations down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. I hope to vlog this weekend, so you will see if future Mary followed through with her intentions. All right, friends. Bye.